Recording HR Fridays today at the Kabalaza, depending on which school you went to, right here on Bukoto Street. And shocking for me today is finding out that my cameraman, my video crew, my video head, Watanda Ambrose of Watanda Photography, hasn't subscribed to my YouTube channel. Do not be like Ambrose. Subscribe to my YouTube channel today so that you can enjoy many of this. This is HR Fridays. My name is Ruby Engena, your host of your weekly dose of HR. Today on the show, we are speaking about mental health, everything mental health. And the lady I have on is brilliant, smart, interesting, and has a vast, array of knowledge. Jennifer Malay, the healthcare manager of Minet, sits down with me and tells me why you should pay attention to mental health, not only at the workplace, but also at your home. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. This is HR Fridays. Jennifer, hi.
Hi, Ruby.
Welcome to the show. I'm excited to have you here. I'm excited for what we're about to talk about.
I was excited.
You are? Yeah. So thank you very much. This is HR Fridays, an online platform where I'm just encouraging people in the workplace and anybody else to know that, you're the CEO of you.
Yes.
And we talk about like real life issues. And have you liked my YouTube channel, first of all?
Of course.
You have?
Yeah.
And the Facebook page?
And the Facebook page, yeah.
So pick a leaf, guys. Pick a leaf. Anyway, mental health.
Yes, mental health.
You're the healthcare manager of Minet.
Yes.
Health is wide.
Yeah.
Just tell me briefly about mental health and why there's so much attention on it now.
I'll pick the WHO leaf. WHO says that mental health is a state of well-being where everyone realizes their own potential, can cope up with the normal stresses of life. They can work productively and fruitfully, and can also make a positive contribution to the community. That is what they describe as mental health. But you realize that lately, through these wellness programs that I've been doing with Minet, majority of the people spending between 8 to 10 hours in the workplace, and the workplace has become a part of us. If you're spending 8 to 10 hours in the workplace, you know that is your home. That's where you have your lunch. That is where your life is, your whole life. Yes. And again, when you look at the psychological aspect of work, the workplace is a good place to be. It gives you 5 psychological aspects and experiences that you won't get anywhere. The time structure. If you're working, your time structure is, you know when you wake up, when you go to bed, when you have lunch.
You have a routine.
Thank you, yeah. It also gives you the social contact. I was able to see you from your workplace, yes. Then also things like collective effort. If say Coca-Cola or any other, whatever, Stanbic or Minet are going to have a community initiative, you're a part of it. And that feeds into what WHO says. You must be able to make a contribution to the community. But then also things like the whole being in the workplace versus what we call mental fitness, is all interlinked. Yeah, because if I think about my skills, my ability to be able to speak, to say that I'm confident, I was able to discover that from the workplace. Yes, so what WHO says, realizing your own potential and skills, you can only get that in the workplace. So if the workplace is not providing those aspects and we are spending all the time there, then there's a big issue.
Yeah. So what I want to understand is, okay, so mental health, like I said, is wide.
Yes.
It applies to all individuals, whether you're in the workplace or not. Why I'm focusing on the workplace is many times we tend to forget that we're working with people. We assume that everything is fast-paced. So I just want you to tell me, mental health and the workplace, why is it something that we should pay attention to?
Okay. Last week, WHO was revising this what we call the International Classification of Diseases. And one of the diseases that has been globally recognized is burnout. And when you look at burnout, they say it only works in the context of the workplace, and it is a condition as a result of chronic stress that has not been managed successfully. But that, again, is in the context of the workplace. And I remember when I was still a practicing medical person, we used to have so many corporates coming in the hospitals and the clinics where I worked, showing physical symptoms, but not manifesting in the lab. So you come with fevers and everything, muscle yes, and then when we do the labs, it's a completely different thing. But then when we probe deeper, we find out that you've been going through some work issues. Yes, so all of these, you know, the human being is made up of the mind. And the mind is where we think, it's where we clarify, is where we analyze, is where we have our feelings, you understand? So if something happens in this place where you spend your 8 to 10 hours a day, it's going to have a significant impact on you. And that is why we are coming out to talk about the workplace. Yeah. And the other thing is, there's something also called health promotion. Health promotion is also about empowering people to take charge of their health. But then in that same context, we have what we call a settings approach, where we meet people in different places, in schools, in the workplace. So the workplace has come out again with so many researches that are happening as a key determinant of health. Yes.
So I've had people say, okay, there's a common statement, I don't know how true it is.
Yeah.
Like a medical practitioner, so
Yes.
you tell me, everybody's mad.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
the degree
yes.
varies.
Yes.
How true is that when we're speaking about mental health? Like, is mental health necessarily madness?
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, everywhere I've been to talk about mental health promotion in the workplace, they've said, oh, we thought mental health was about the mad people. But by the time somebody gets to that stage of going to an institution and they are kept there, a lot of things have gone wrong. Right from the time you were conceived to the time your mother bore you, what happened during the delivery, the things that happen in early childhood all speak a lot in what this individual will be in the lifetime. So in that context, if you're to talk about mental health, mental fitness, it's not necessarily about running mad and being on medication, but your ability to cope up with the normal stresses of life. You know that we can't control stress.
What stress?
Stress, yeah. Traffic jam, tough boss, going through a hard life situation like loss of a partner, a divorce, you know, financial issues. And you realize that right now, if you're to probe and you ask people, what is the major stressor here? They'll tell you finances, you understand? And then in some companies where we've gone to come up with the mental health initiatives, we've actually ended up doing financial wellness, because that is the cause of the anxiety, of the stress, of the depression, which are the common conditions that we're seeing in the workplace. So it is broad. Yeah, you only need to know what is the stressor, what is that one issue that is causing the anxiety, that is causing the depression, and you address it. Yes.
So you see, like, unlike other diseases, for instance, if I have a skin problem, you'll see a skin rash.
Yeah.
With mental health, I can actually be here with a mental condition and you don't know. What are some of the symptoms, you know, that, you know, employers or workplace or anyone at home can pick out and say, I think Jennifer, there's something, you know, Ruby has a problem. What are those things that we need to look out for?
Yeah. For instance, there are so many mental illnesses, but I'll talk about the commonest. Things like depression. Depression, if somebody has a low mood, is uninterested in things that they've been interested before, they are low, they feel unimportant. I remember in a certain organization, they had a culture of celebrating birthdays, and they celebrated a birthday of a certain person, one of the guys in the company, and he responded back on the WhatsApp saying, I hate my birthday. My birthday reminds me of the so many things I have not achieved in life. I think if you're a manager or a colleague, you should be able to probe. Yeah. So there are things that we shouldn't let go. Actually, in mental health, there's what we call mental health first aid. Like, people must be able to pick up those things quickly, and they're like, okay, Ruby's not fine. And then they're like, Ruby, I think you need help here. Yeah, but all that comes with a sensitization. You cannot be able to pick up those things if you've not sensitized, if we've not told you, look out for symptoms of depression, look out for symptoms of anxiety, if somebody's panicking, if they're intensely worried and fearful, pick it up, you understand? Say in the workplace, managers have to have a certain level of training to do that mental health first aid. Because you realize for managers, it's about targets, it's about you're not profitable, you're not performing, but nobody thinks about the mental health. How is Ruby? How is she thinking? How is she feeling? Why is she sad? Yes, why the low mood?
You see, let me just hang there a bit.
Yeah.
Mental health is it something that I can have today? Like a mental health problem today and then tomorrow I'm fine. For instance, I might have a low mood today, let's say, because I slept hungry or I've come through traffic and having a bad day.
Yes.
So that classifies for mental first aid, like you've called it.
Yes.
But like, is it possible for someone to be mentally ill for the past 3 years and we have never picked up on it?
Yes, it is possible. Yes, it is possible because in mental health, somebody can have different personalities for different. If you realize in the US, most of these in Hollywood, in the Hollywood, and most of these celebrities, you see somebody, they're celebrated, they look happy, and the next thing you hear, they've committed suicide. But the people that lived with them knew some things. So people have different ways of portraying themselves. Somebody can have a double personality. When they are with Ruby, they are happy. When they go back home, it's a nightmare. That's why the sensitization needs to touch the different, circles that people live in, so that they're able to pick it up.
Okay, so besides medication, how do you help somebody who has, because I'm assuming medication is the last.
Yeah, of course, it should be the last thing, but one of the things that we're trying to encourage is to incorporate relaxation. If it is an organization and a company, they should be able to create those breaks. You understand? Some IT guy told me that in a certain company, he said, okay, I'm going to be monitoring people, and every after 4 hours, I'll cause like a blackout so that people go and rest. They get a break for like 15 minutes, and then I can switch them on. Yes, so we need to become creative, and find ways. If it is physical activity that you need to incorporate to become a culture in the organization for some days, so you say twice a day we shall be exercising. Work ends at 4:30, and the 30 minutes people are able to relax a bit. If we're going to have like a motivation, because you realize the biggest mental health issue in the workplace is stress and fatigue. And if you're to study stress, there has to be a stressor, which stressor interacts with the resources you have on the inside. The resources are the positive thinking, the self-determination, the confidence, the faith that you have. If, say we give a dose of a resource that somebody needs to take them throughout the day, it can be very helpful. If we say we are going to talk to parents now to try and work on their parenting skills, so that if we have a person who has grown around positivity and they're thinking positively, they're able to cope with the different stressors in life, it can also be done. I mean, there's a lot.
Okay, before I go to my next question, let's first talk about self-awareness. I, the person with a mental health problem, needs to know that, okay, this is as a result of this. This is a trigger.
Sometimes you may not know. But what we are trying to create is like a defense sort of. You need to create a system around yourself that enables you to awaken, in case of anything. And this can be social support, if you have friends and they're able to tell you, oh, you think you're not well. Or if yourself, you have the resources that I was talking about, and you're able to have that self-check. You should have a self-check as an individual, If you're a person that will get to the point of self-mastery or personal mastery, which is a key requirement in mental fitness, you should be able to have moments when you're like, okay, what is happening to me now? A self-evaluation. How was my day? Things like how was my day, you know? Before anyone else tells you that, Ruby, you're not doing well, you should be able to evaluate yourself, and you're like, okay, I think I'm having this and this and the other. But all that is created by you. You need to have that network that checks you. Just like in the workplace, there are checks and balances. Even on a personal level, you must have those checks and balances.
So, you know, so in other words, I have to be intentional and say,
exactly,
if I get home today at 5,
exactly,
I sit down and I reflect.
Yeah, you realize that we all have mental health.
Yeah.
And with mental health viewers, I'm not talking about the mad people that are on the streets, but I'm talking about the day-to-day. Your ability to be fruitful, be productive, you understand? Ability to take on that stress, you know, because stressors are not going to go away. If you realize in the corporate world, targets are just going up every other time. There are all those dynamics that are coming in the workplace. It is becoming very difficult. Things like globalization, the millennials in the workplace, you know, change, this and the other.
So, if as human beings, one of our biggest characteristics is running and avoiding things. We'll always give an excuse. If you look at the story in the Bible, God asked Adam where he was, and his first thing is, I'm naked. You know, he didn't, you know, we always. So likewise, I might know I have a problem, but then I run away from it by becoming a workaholic. So like Ruby's always at work from 7 to 7. So you might think I'm okay, I'm productive, or I'll say I'm going to, let's say, spend it in music, or I'm going to eat or drink, or, you know, we always look for ways. So it's very hard for me, who's working with you, to pick it up. I'll probably just say, but Jennifer is like that. She works hard.
Yes.
So back to the crack in the wall. How would you help me?
Yeah, no, but that, Ruby's always like that. Should also be a trigger, you know. People should be able to pick up. The thing that we are emphasizing a lot, even the things that we call normal. For instance, I'll talk about my first child. He's autistic, mildly autistic. But I wasn't able to pick up these things because I was ignorant. But it's as when I went to read in the depth of autism and what, I can actually move on the streets and tell a parent, hey, your child, and they'll tell you, no, they're just normal, it is this and the other. But I remember there's a lady, about 3 weeks back, I told her, oh, you need to see a doctor, a certain doctor about this. And I've seen some abnormalities about this. But for her, because she wasn't aware, it was okay. And I was also in that place at one time. So the thing is, what we are trying, and the reason why I'm coming out to talk about it, is we need to create the awareness. When we create the awareness, we'll be able to create the shock absorbers, you know, that network that checks you, the checks and balances. If you're working so long, people should be able to question, does she have another life? Because, I mean, there's the normal and there's the abnormal. If you're at work more than 8 hours, Monday to Saturday, when do you have time for the family? When is your quiet time? You understand? We should be able to ask so many other questions. But it comes at a point of awareness.
So let me scratch you a bit there. Speaking about your child, what are some of the resources you as Jennifer use? Because I don't know, I assume having a child who's a bit autistic might, you know, bother you a bit. So what are some of your resources? How do you make sure that you remain in check?
I remain in check. One of the things is my faith. Yes, it's something that I have prayed about. I have prayed and I have seen results. Like I've seen some symptoms disappear. The other thing that I do is I have treated him as normal. And to try and not to create a lot of negativity around. He's like a normal child, even in the home. You know, he goes to school. If I have a school that I have identified, we have that talk with the head teacher and the teachers. This is Christian. This is the challenge. And by the way, it's been very good. Like where he is right now, the school, Little Dolphins, he's in a normal class. They have a small class. He's in P2. They have a normal class of about 8 kids. And he's in the same class with them. And they've had that awareness. They've told the kids, this is Christian. Christian is different but not abnormal. You understand?
Yeah.
So I remember the last time I checked at the school, they were asking me, but Mommy, Christian, why does he say the same words that we say? Because in autism there's something called echolalia. I can say how are you and you say how are you, and then after you say I'm fine. You understand, that sort of thing. So I said, he'll be fine. That is just him, he's different. So the other thing that I have had is the social
Support.
network. Like my husband and I reached a point and said, okay, this is our child, we love him, he should have everything that he has. And my husband told me, oh, by the way, I no longer worry about Christian. It's one thing that I have actually surrendered to God, and I see it as normal, and we take one day at a time. But then also the awareness and the extensive reading, because I've read extensively about autism. I know what to do, because when we make decisions based on what we know. Knowledge is also
Power.
it's power. When I say knowledge is power, it is real power, because you'll be able to make the decision to either check in the hospital, because my symptoms now are not good. Let me check in.
Okay, first of all, Jennifer, wow, I'm just listening to you talk about Christian and how you and your husband have loved him, and he's your child.
And we've seen positive, because he's gone from not writing. By the way, we spent like 3 years paying school fees for a child who wasn't writing, but now he's writing, and he has the best handwriting, the teachers tell me, because everything about him has to be perfect. So when he learned to write, it is perfect. Everything he does is perfect. When it came to coloring, the teachers have told me we've not seen anyone color the way Christian colors, but we just decided we said let him go to school, and we kept that faith, and we saw remarkable results. Now he's counting from 1 to 100, and he can write all those letters. He's adding. I mean, I've been just amazed.
I have to bring you back on the show one day and we talk about just autism, because these are things that people actually have,
and it's coming back in the workplace. Now imagine if I have an autistic child
and he's like 27 and he's working.
And I am working. I come with that stress at work, and my bosses may not know what is happening. But if I have a resource like Faith, I mean, right now I'm even able to talk about it in a positive way.
Now, first pause right there. Let me ask you something. I like that you talk about faith, because I'm a firm believer in the faith. I believe strongly that there are so many things, if almost everything, that can be solved by God, and not necessarily medicine, and not necessarily. So just tell me briefly about faith and mental health. How does it help me keep myself in check?
Thank you, Robbie. Nice question. You remember when we were talking about stress, and I talked about the resources that we have. The resources are the things like positive thinking, self-determination. You realize that faith gives us the confidence, even when you're going in the midst of something that you're not sure about, you have that confidence that, God will help me. That self-efficacy, knowing that I can do this. There's a higher power. It is Ruby, but there's God in me. You know what the Bible says, that it is no longer I who lives, but Christ who lives in me. So Ruby, if you come to House of Ruby with this confidence that it's not Ruby, it is Christ, your drive is going to be different, your energy is going to be different, your perception, your give, you're like, I'm doing it for God. If you see most of these faith-based organizations, when people are working, they're working for not for people but for God, and you've seen that tremendous work that has been done. Even in the line of medicine, if you have to go back to the history of medicine, medicine was invented by people that were Christians, and they were working for God. And all the inventions, they were like, no, God has taught me to do this. You understand? So that sort of person, I'll talk about meditation. Meditation is also a practice that we do in Christianity. And also, when you read extensively about mental health, we'll talk about meditation. So if you meditate, say, every day, 30 minutes in prayer, you're going to have new energies come in your life, which will be able to push you for the day. And imagine if you did this every day, you won't be like a person who doesn't have meditation. But you see that the faith is now contributing to that, and it's giving you that discipline. Yes.
Wow, we can go on and on, but just quickly. I've also noticed that through meditation, God, through His Holy Spirit,
Yes.
highlights things that could be wrong.
Yes.
This is
Yes.
actually the
Yeah.
issue. It's caused maybe your self-esteem or whatever. But you can go on and Jennifer, conclude for me. What's
Yeah.
the way forward?
Basically, the way forward, it starts with you. You know, like we were saying, everyone has mental health. Everyone is susceptible. You can't say, me, I'm the manager, me, I'm so and so, me, I'm the president. No, everybody has mental health, and there is no health without mental health. So, as a person, on a personal level, have those checks. You know, create what we called the checks and balances. You know, the social support. Create time for you. You know, to reflect on your life, to look at where you're headed. People that are in faith, use it, because it is, we've seen it's such a tool that can be used. But also in the workplace, we need to come up with policies that check on people, say mental health sensitization, where we talk about it. And when we talk about it, everybody, we raise the flags, you know, every time. Maybe if Jennifer is doing something, people will say, oh, Jennifer, we think you're not well, you understand? And they'll talk about it. Yeah.
So an avenue where people can
Yes, can discuss. We need to open forums, and that's the global trend. If you realize, all organizations are talking about it, are creating the awareness. Because the first step is awareness.
Also, minus the workplace, also I need to have an avenue, let's say at home, where I can speak.
Yes, where you can
either
speak.
to my parents or my
Yes,
siblings or my
yes,
friends.
yeah.
And whatever. So talking about it is,
We need to talk about it.
Yeah.
We shouldn't keep quiet.
we shouldn't keep quiet. Thank you very much, Jennifer.
Thank you, Robbie.
Wow, like the show is going to end, but you know, let's we can have this conversation for like
Yes,
10
yeah.
million years. I'm very sure that at least one person has been helped.
Yeah.
They could be more.
That's my prayer.
There could be more.
Yes.
But at least one person has been helped.
Yeah.
To the rest of the viewers, you've heard it from Jennifer herself. Mental health is actually such a big deal. You have to make sure that you're self-aware. You have to make sure that you have the right resources that are going to help you. If you're a person of faith, utilize your faith. But whatever you do not keep quiet. Talk about it. This is me talking about it. You need to like my YouTube channel. You need to like my Facebook page so that you can get all this and many more HR Fridays episodes that will come out. See you next week, and remember, you are the CEO of you.